Welcome to Ms. Smith's Math Tutorials. I'm Ms. Smith. So in this video, we're going to be talking about function notation. So this calls back something from the first video we did for Unit 4, where I kind of just introduced some terms you should know. We talked about f of x in that video. F of x in this unit is completely interchangeable with y. So you'll notice right here, you might pick up that I've got I would normally have x and y. Instead of writing y, I've written f of x. So go back and check that video out where I talked a little bit more about that. So we're used to writing equations where we have y equals, and then something. So now we're talking about functions where instead of y, we're writing f of x equals something. Okay? And function notation is basically saying that if y equals this, we want to plug in various things for x to see what y would equal. So for here, they gave us a table of things to try for x to see what y would equal. So first thing is 2. So it's saying if f of x equals x squared plus 3, and we're saying x is 2, we want to insert 2 for x. So f of x, which again, that means y, equals 2 squared plus 3. Okay? Now you can either just put that straight in your calculator, or you could go through the process of saying, okay, 2 squared would be 4, 4 plus 3 would be 7. So f of x would equal 7. Okay, so if x is 2, f of x would be 7. All right, what if x was 3? So let's try that. So if f of x equals 3 squared plus 3. So 3 squared is 9. 9 plus 3 would be 12. So f of x would be 12 if x was 3. All right, what if x was 4? So this would be f of x equals 4 squared plus 3. So 4 squared, 4 times 4 is 16, 17, 18, 19. So f of x, or y, would be 19. Now here they kind of throw you for a loop because they're saying, well, what if we tell you f of x and then we want you to solve for x? Well, all you do is instead of writing f of x, we're going to write 28. So f of x, or in this case 28, equals x squared plus 3. All right, so now instead of solving for y, we're solving for x. But it's, just basic algebra at this point. We want to move our 3 to the other side using the inverse. So that would be minus 3. All right, and so 28 minus 3 would be 25, which would equal x squared. Now, we don't use this a ton in Math 1, definitely a lot more in Math 2, but it's important to note, how do we undo a square? So you can undo a square by taking the square root of something. That completely gets rid of that little square too. And if you do that to one side, you have to do that to the other. So what is the square root of 25? It would be 5. So x equals 5. So if f of x is 28, what is x? It's 5. One more thing I do want to show you guys. This is going to save you a lot of time. You'll notice that all of these equations, because they're f of x equals, or if you want to think of it as y equals, they're perfectly set up to put in the calculator. So I'm going to show you how to do that just to kind of save you, there we go, just to kind of save you some time. All right, so cut your calculator on, and you're going to go to that y equals function. We went here at the end of last unit when we were doing systems of equations. So it's that same place. So your y equals, and type in the equation given. So x squared plus 3. So we'd use our x button, squared plus 3. Okay, now here's something we have not looked at. If you go to second graph, this brings up a table of all your potential values. So all you would really need to do is scroll to where x is 2. So it'd be down a little bit and look at what does y equal. So when x is 2, you'll notice y is 7. Okay, same thing for 3. When x is 3, y is 12. When x is 4, y is 19. And when x is 5, y is 28. Or you could have looked for where is y 28 and then seen, okay, it was 5. So that is one way to definitely save you some time when you're given questions like this. It's not, you don't have to do this, but it would save you doing a lot of this work. So just keep that in mind as a tip to save yourself some work. Let's look at some more examples of this. Now these examples are a little more complicated, but essentially it's the same idea. We talked about in that first video how if it's written f of x, that means y. But if something is in the place of x, it's saying that whatever that thing is, that is what x equals. So it's not always going to be a pretty number like it is in number 1. You know, looking ahead to 4 and 5, it might not be as simple. So in this case, it's given us f of x is equal to 4x plus 1, g of x is equal to 2x squared plus 7x, and h of x is equal to negative 5x plus 2. So it's going to indicate in the question which of these it wants you to use. So for number 1, when it says f of 4, it's telling you it wants you to use the one with the f. So we're going to use this first equation. So f of 4 tells me 4 is in the place of x. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to put a 4. So in this case, it will be 4 times x, but it's not x now, it's 4, plus 1. Okay, and 4 times 4 would be 16. 16 plus 1 would be 17. So 17 would be my answer for f of 4. All right, for number 2, g of negative 3. So that tells me I'm going to use the equation that's got the g in front of it. So the equation is g of x equals 2x squared plus 7x. And everywhere I see an x, I'm going to put a negative 3. So 2 times negative 3 squared plus 7 times negative 3. All right, now you can just put this in your calculator. And in fact, let's do that. I'm going to bring my calculator in. Make sure that looks okay, kind of okay. All right. I'm going to bring my calculator in, and I'm going to plug in exactly this. So 2 times negative 3 to the power of 2 plus 7 times negative 3. Okay, you'll notice those parentheses are extremely important. Make sure you have those included. Enter negative 3. All right, so what's my answer here? Negative 3. All right, for h of 0. So I'm going to be using my h equation now, and everywhere I see an x, I'm going to put a 0. So I'm going to use this negative 5 times x, but it's not x, now it's 0, plus 2. So I could put this one straight in the calculator, or I could just walk through it. Negative 5 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. All right, now number 4, this one looks a little different, but it's the same process. So it's saying f of 3m plus 4. And so 3m plus 4 is in the place of x. So I'm going to be using this equation with the f. All right, and everywhere I see an x, like right there, I'm going to be putting in 3m plus 4. So 4 times x, but instead of x, I'm writing 3m plus 4 plus 1. Now, I'm not able to just put this one in the calculator. I've got to remember some algebra steps. Because this 4 is outside the parentheses, I'm going to need to distribute it in. 4 times 3m would be 12m. 4 times positive 4 would be positive 16. Bring down my plus 1. Combine these like terms, so I've got 12m plus 16 plus 1 is, m plus 17. Alright, so 12m plus 17, it's not a pretty answer, but it's as low as we can take it. Alright, number 5, h of 2c. So I'm going to be using my h equation, and I see what's in place of x, 2c. So everywhere I see an x, that's what I'm going to write. So negative 5 times x, but now it's 2c, plus 2. Alright, so same thing as here, I need to multiply this. Negative 5 times 2c would be negative 10c. Bring down my plus 2. There's no other like terms here to combine, so that's my final answer. Alright, so this has been Ms. Smith's Math Tutorials.